NASA has finally come out and spoken about 3i Atlas. Yesterday, they did a live stream on it showing new images and answering people's questions. But what we'll see is that their response is completely insane, actually. And if anything, has made me wonder if there's something more going on with this object that is NASA's now response and the images that they're putting out in connection to this thing. So we'll look at this, some of the deceptions connected to NASA, known frauds that they've been doing in the past, and just some of the stuff and connected with it. I mean, it has its roots in the occult with Jack Parsons and Babylon working. It's weird. So first we have this post on X by NASA that they've just released the latest images of interstellar comet 3i Atlas that was observed by 8 different spacecraft, satellites, and telescopes. Here's the image that they put forth. Now, everyone is saying, what is this image? This is a terrible image. And again, in this, it even says spacecraft, satellites, and telescopes. What is NASA's funding every year? 25 billion, and they cannot get a single decent image of this thing. They did also release this, but these are really not that good either. And it's kind of like they throw in some of these ones, like this top one at the left, to make it seem like, well, there's something going on. It's like kind of more mysterious looking. But people all over X were saying that this is absolutely ridiculous here. I mean, even these pages that aren't even really like against NASA, these astronomy pages, like this one here. Amateur astronomer taking this image on the left, 70 billion space agency. This one in the that looks just like a light in the distance. NASA's image versus Ray astrophotography 3i Atlas. We're getting a more pixelated, a clearer image of this thing with these amateur astronomers. Again, where's this $75 billion going every year? That's one of the things too. That's all kind of seems like that could be in the connection of this too. I don't necessarily think that this is like an alien technology machine coming from another planet or something like that, because I don't really believe that. Everything, all this whole alien stuff happening is a spiritual deception. But it's almost like what they're trying to do is cover up, maybe even seek out these spiritual things that are coming. The Bible says that there are forces that are going to be coming upon the earth in the last days, that men's hearts will fail them for fear of the expectation of those things coming. And they could be trying to connect to these things. But it could also just be a massive money laundering scheme. And there's people just getting completely rich, taking this $75 billion and just completely wasting the money. Is there any checks and balances to see where NASA's spending this money? Here we have a citizen astronomer taking better photos of 3i Atlas than $75 billion space agency. That's not adding up. That's not making sense. Again, why did they take so long to get to even giving us any answers about it? And then this is the first thing that we get. And then it's just weird. Like the second I saw that a few days before, the day before, that they're like, we're going to do an hour live stream, or an hour live stream, and we're going to talk about 3i Atlas. I was like, that thing is going to be completely full of nonsense. They're going to give no new images, no good images. And it's just going to be completely like damage control for the fact that they've been completely quiet on this issue for ever since we've even known about it, really. So here's one of the highlights from this thing. And this is this is true.
All right. Our last question for today comes from X and asks if we can see grains of sand on Mars. How is the clearest photo we can see for 3i Atlas, what we've seen?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. How come we have these images of space that are just so absolutely insane? Somebody else posted that. I thought I had an image of it. But I mean, well, and here we'll look at some of this stuff too of other lies that NASA has been caught doing. But I mean, how many space images do we have of deep space, Mars, the moon, all these things that they claim are just like the most incredible images? And then when it comes to 3i Atlas, it's like, it's nothing. It's like this, it doesn't even look real. And NASA has been known to fake images, which we'll look at here in a moment, because again, where's this money going? Why are they faking stuff? Why are they not giving us any real information? I mean, it's ridiculous. This person said, NASA has always told the lies first, and when the truth begins to surface, they rush to manipulate the narrative. 3i Atlas is real, and it's absolutely not a comet. For those who refuse to believe, ask yourself one simple question. They can observe star explosions in other galaxies with incredible advanced telescopes. Why can't they provide a clear image of an object that's only a few kilometers long? Because they're lying. Get ready for the truth, because it's coming. 3i Atlas, I don't necessarily believe that. This is from when this kind of was all starting. Let's take a listen.
It could be what NASA thinks it is, and that's why this is so exciting, and that's why we want to have this press conference to share it with the world, to share it with you. And also, we are ultra transparent, right? If we had this exciting news about the peer reviewers and what we think we found at NASA, and I didn't bring it to you, we didn't have everyone here together, you might go, you're trying to hide stuff from us. Why didn't you tell us that a year ago? So we are here to say this is exciting, and we want to share that news with, it could be.
So there we go. He even says, if you're seeing the information and it's not exactly what you're thinking, you're wondering, why is it like that? You may think, well, what are you hiding from us? Well, because they're obviously hiding something. What is it? Do they know that 3i Atlas is something, some weird manifestation, something coming upon the earth that the Bible says is coming in the last days? Do they know that it's acting in a different way? It's some anomaly, that something that we haven't seen? Or is it just a regular comet, which is probably what the case is, a weird comet from far out in space? It's acting a little stranger than anything else because, again, it's not from here, so it's acting weird. And then at the same time, though, they're trying to cover up for, what are these guys on? I would like to know what these guys' salaries are. We're getting no, shouldn't these guys be giving us space information and space news? Why aren't we getting space news from the agency that deals with space? Why aren't we getting good pictures from the agency that's supposed to do that? $75 billion a year. And this is what we're getting from them? I mean, cut their funding. What's the point? We haven't gone back to the moon since what, the 70s or 80s or something? What's the point of these guys? What do they even do? So yeah, here, and we'll see that there's actually, they do fake their stuff. There's a lot of things that they should be held accountable for because they've been caught lying. They've been caught faking stuff. Here's a testimony from a NASA employee talking about, well, she was a NASA contractor. We'll listen to this and then we'll see what she says.
I had the opportunity to do extra work during downtime, which was between missions, and I walked into a photo lab, which was the NASA lab across the hallway. I had a secret clearance, which is not that high, but I was able to go into restricted areas, which this was. At the time, I was talking to one of the techs in there, and he drew my attention to a photograph, a NASA photograph. It had a dot on it. And I said, what is that? Well, he drew my attention to it, and I said, is that a dot on the emulsion? And he said, and he's smiling, and he has his hands crossed, and he said, round dots on the emulsion don't leave round shadows on the ground. And this was an aerial photograph of the Earth, I'm assuming the Earth, because it had pine trees on it, and the shadows of the craft, or whatever it was, were in the same angle as the trees. And by its very nature, UFO, and I wanted to clarify that to a gentleman that was talking to me, means unidentified. So I did not know what this was. But I realized at this point that it's very secret, that it was kept secret, because I asked him, what are you going to do with this piece of information? And he said, we always airbrush these out before we sell them to the public. So they're pesky little creatures appearing on this photograph they wanted to get rid of. After that, I decided.
They do that a lot. We'll see that in a moment here, where they're caught faking stuff with the images of the Earth, with the shadows of the Earth. They know that. They've admitted that too, that they Photoshop the Earth. They say it has to be Photoshopped. Yeah. I
would ask questions to other people that work there, and I found that I had to ask them away from the site and not on site. A guard told me that he was asked to burn some photographs and not to look at them. And there was another guard guarding him, who was in green fatigues, watching him burn the photographs. And he said he was too tempted. He looked at one, and it was a picture of a UFO. And he was very descriptive. I can go into that later with anyone. He immediately was hit in the head, and he had a big gash in his forehead. He was knocked out, and he's terrified. So he would have to be protected. Another incident, I knew someone in quarantine with the Apollo astronauts. He told me that the Apollo astronauts saw craft on the moon when we landed. And that is what he told me. And he also was afraid. He said that the astronauts are told to keep this quiet. They're not allowed to talk about it. So I do want to let you know that I worked out there for a number of years, and I ran into this. So it's not something everyone knows that works out there for a long time. My boss didn't know about it. Some people that sat right next to me didn't know about it. It's very strange, because I don't know how they can do it, but they can let some people know about it and then others not. I'm willing to testify before Congress that what I'm saying is true, and thank you very much.
There's definitely a phenomenon happening. There's things flying around. There's people being abducted, where they're being taken to, or if that's just a spiritual experience that they're having, or it's in their dreams or in their mind or something like that. It's hard to know exactly what is happening, but it's 100% connected to a spiritual deception. The evidence is there. It's all over the place, but the fact that there is these orbs, plasmoids, these things manifesting lights in the sky, tearing in and out of our reality. That is a real thing. NASA's caught that on their cameras quite a few times. And yeah, they airbrush it out when it happens. When they start to say things like, oh, well, we were on the moon and these things are there watching over the earth, it starts to get into like the evolved beings from other planets, which just is not real. It makes no sense in any way whatsoever. These things, they're not crashing their UFOs here. They don't have technology. They're not traveling light speed like 3i Atlas. Do you know how many millions and millions of years at the speed that 3i Atlas is traveling for it to come from another planet would have to be? And then if it's none of that is theological or not theological, theoretical at all. It makes zero sense, especially if you're a Christian, because it doesn't fit in anywhere with the story of Genesis or the Bible or end times prophecy. What it does fit in with end times prophecy is the big deceptions that are coming and people being led astray by fallen forces. That's exactly what the Bible says, and that's exactly what's happening. So NASA does actually scrub some of their social media accounts. I'm not sure exactly when this was. This was in November 7th, 2025. It's interesting. Let's take a listen.
Guys, it was brought to my attention that NASA is taking down tons of its social media websites. Here's the list.
Here's the list. I wanted to see exactly how much revenue space gets from the clothing industry, the gaming industry, the music industry, animation industry, and the film industry. Well, they have to shut it down because
So yeah, NASA is shutting down a lot of their accounts. Why is NASA shutting down Voyager, Curiosity, and Perseverance and other X accounts? Here we see again, NASA is shutting down some of its official social media accounts, including the Curiosity rover's handle. Wonder why they're doing that. I mean, they've been caught faking images on Mars, saying that they're on Mars, and then people have found the exact location on the Earth where they're doing it, and it's spot for spot looks exactly the same. And I mean, how does it make any sense again, right? That they have the technology that we're getting these like 4K images from this little machine off on Mars, and then yet with the more advanced telescopes and technology that we have here on the Earth, we can't get any good image of this thing flying through space. Again, that's, to me, if anything about this object makes it seem weird, it is acting in anomalous ways. Avi Loeb has talked a lot about these different things it's doing. The direction is coming, how it's perihelion, how it's lined up with the sun, how we can't see it at the exact moment. There's a lot of different anomalies that when they all start to add up, it seems like, well, this is kind of weird. And that is weird. But the weirdest thing of all to me is that NASA, this massive space agency, and then the other space agencies of the world are also not giving us any good images of this thing. And it's having to be done by random people on X and YouTube and on social media. Why is that where we're getting the best images of this thing? What are they trying to cover up and hide here with this? It's odd. Here's Avi Loeb. This says, Avi Loeb looks visibly frustrated as NASA's live event on 3 Atlas's images unfolds.
I was asked by a reporter, what do I expect? And I said that I don't expect big news. NASA will repeat the official mantra that 3i Atlas is a natural comet and that they were unable to process the data until now because of the government shutdown. And probably the high-rise image will show a fuzzy ball of light like the Hubble image. But I hoped to be surprised, and I was not.
Oh, man.
There was some new data from the Lucy spacecraft, Maven, SOHO, HiRISE. But again, all these images were fuzzy. There was no new insight offered by them. And of course, one would like to analyze those images. The main questions we have about 3i Atlas were not really addressed. And I would say that the data that was released over the past week or two after 3i Atlas came out of the direction of the sun, so we can observe it from Earth, that data is far more interesting. It shows jets, multiple jets going in different directions, and we're yet to see a big telescope imaging those jets. So far, we saw amateur astronomers' telescopes. And so these images are intriguing. The question of whether 3i Atlas, for example, shows non-gravitational acceleration, that's still being calculated, debated. That's another important insight about what happened to it when it came closest to the sun. And of course, as it gets closest to Earth, that will be on December 19th, we'll have the best opportunity to use the hundreds of telescopes on Earth and the Hubble and Webb space telescopes to get our best data on it. So as far as I can tell, in terms of scientific output, there wasn't much offered in this press conference.
Well, of course. And again, so what's going on with their funding, right? They should not be getting that much money if they cannot give us any updates on what is happening in space. What's the point of having a space agency if they don't update you on space stuff? I mean, that's kind of their job, right? NASA's trade secrets spilled, NASA's lies exposed. So now we'll look into some of the evidence that NASA has lied quite a bit in the past. Now let's start to get into the flat Earth stuff, which for me, I don't believe in flat Earth. I think it's pretty clear that we don't live on a flat Earth, but why is NASA consistently lying? Are they doing a cover-up of something? Are they trying to just fake this stuff to make it seem like we have space superiority when in reality we don't, which is the exact reason why we faked the moon landing, try to have space superiority over the Russians. But why are they continuing to do it to this very day? And probably part of it would be the $75 trillion. I mean, the love of money is the root of all evil. And when somebody sees a $75 million paycheck coming in, there's a lot of people who would gladly just fake people and say, like, make fake videos that they're on the space station, or take fake pictures of Earth and all this stuff and make fake videos of the Earth and stuff for $75 trillion. I mean, people have done a lot worse for a lot less. Let's look at some of these NASA lies and then some of their connection to the occult, which is like, why are they connected to the occult? You know, that should show that there's something deeper going on here when it comes to all this stuff.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Today I'd like to bring to your attention a potential fraud on an enormous scale happening in your county. There's now clear evidence of NASA using numerous methods to grossly mislead the public about astronauts being on the International Space Station. During interior ISS scenes from NASA's own live feed, the use of wires, harnesses, green screens, and virtual reality have been detected to achieve the appearance of a weightless environment. Examples of this include astronauts fading in and out of the screen, green screen glitches, grabbing objects that aren't really there, pulling on invisible wires, getting tangled in their harnesses, and even astronauts appearing out of thin air. This begs the obvious question. If they're really up there, why are they using Hollywood techniques to fake the footage? Now, unfortunately, I can't show you these clips in here today, but I will be sending them to you. Outside the International Station, during...
You know, this has to be seen again, because this is very obvious, 100%. They're clearly faking stuff in relation to the International Space Station. Green screens, the wire stuff, guys getting caught on it, coming in and out. There was another video of them on the International Space Station. They're all sitting there talking. There's a glass of water next to one of the people. If this was obviously in space, that water would be floating, and it doesn't just sit in a glass like that in a spaceless, in a zero gravity environment. So let's watch these again, because why are these people lying about this? You can't just take $75 billion in tax money every year and then be lying and giving us fake videos.
Examples of this include astronauts fading in and out of the screen, green screen glitches, grabbing objects that aren't really there, pulling on invisible wires, getting tangled in their harnesses, and even astronauts appearing out of thin air. This begs the obvious question. If they're really up there, why are they using Hollywood techniques to fake?
Very strange, very strange. $75 billion taxes going to this. Insane. NASA gets caught using CGI with ridiculous shadows contained in it. Again, it's like they don't even try to bother anymore. Here's a live feed that they posted of the International Space Station. And it's sideways, so it's a little hard to see, but you can see the shadow here from supposedly the International Space Station, but then you can see it in relation to these countries that it's passing over. If it was that big of a shadow, that, I mean, it's almost like, that's almost half the size of Puerto Rico. If it was that big, it would literally be casting like solar eclipse type shadows on the Earth, and people would be seeing it all the time. Like it would be like an eclipse of this thing. And so that's fake. More evidence. They're faking stuff. This was posted in relation to the 3 Atlas thing. I don't obviously think that this is real, but a lot of people were putting this around. So we'll just take a watch of this.
Will be recorded here.
This is supposedly NASA live feed
It's this, man. I moved back, as you said. It's this, isn't it? Freaking weird, man.
This was supposedly from a NASA live stream feed. This thing came on the screen and they cut it, which they have cut feeds before for seeing manifestations of these orbs and things flying around. But this is not it. They're not watching 3 Atlas move. Anytime you see it moving that slow, it's not observed that slow. And also, we already saw the images that they gave. First off, this was the main image that they posted. I mean, insane. And then we, again, have amateur astronomers here on the bottom giving way better images than the $70 billion space agency, NASA. So this one is not legit. Obviously, they would never post that. They would never allow that. And that's just not the case. It's worth mentioning that part of how NASA was created was by Jack Parsons, a mega occultist who was trying to manifest Babylon and bring it back to life and create and to try to summon the Antichrist. I mean, this is the guy who helped found NASA. Jack Parsons, a self-taught rocket scientist who co-founded NASA's Jet Propulsion's lab and built the tech that took America to space. But in dark hours, he led 3X cults. 3X cults worshiped demons, summoned the Antichrist, and died a mysterious death. Here's the insane life of the occultist, of the occult rocket man. So this is Jack Parsons. This is, I think he was saying this lady on the bottom right, who was his girlfriend or wife or whatever, was, he was trying to manifest Babylon through her. I mean, the Babylon working for ceremonies they were going to do to try to bring about. Well, here's the exact description of it. The Babylon working was a series of magical ceremonies conducted by Jack Parsons, a pioneering rocket scientist and occultist, along with L. Ron Hubbard, future founder of Scientology. These rituals took place from January to March 1946 and were designed to invoke the goddess Babylon, a center figure in the Thelemitic tradition established by Aleister Crowley. Parsons believed that through these rituals, he could manifest a physical incarnation of Babylon, often referred to as the Scarlet Woman. This is the guy who helped found NASA. Here's some more. Here's a video on this whole thing here.
The whole thing is so incredible. The whole story is so amazing, so remarkable. This is Los Angeles. This is black magic. This is the founding of NASA, of Jet Propulsion Laboratories. What is it in this story?
The craters and mountains of our moon bear the names of giants of science, figures like Archimedes, Kepler, and Copernicus. There is also a crater honoring someone called Jack Parsons. There are some who would rather he had been forgotten. Perhaps that's why his crater is on the dark side of the moon.
He was a maverick rocket scientist, okay? He was also a maverick rocket scientist spiritually.
This father of American rocketry was also an occultist, devoted to a path still widely misunderstood and feared.
It's understood. It's the occult. It's demonic. It's very, very well understood, actually. It's been going on for a long time. I mean, Babylon, the working of Babylon, we've known about that for a long time. It's not misunderstood. It's the occult. It's demonic, and that's how Jet Propulsion Labs was created by this occult guy. So it just begs the question is, and then when you start to get into this stuff, it's like, why is the space stuff and NASA, like one of the leading people, supposedly the people who took us to the moon and does all the most advanced space stuff in the world, why is the founding of that by a guy who was trying to raise Babylon and to perform occult rituals? That's the guy who helped found this thing. So why is that the root of this agency and this understanding? And it's weird just how fast that we went from what we were, riding horses around, to this type of thing. And then it's connected to a guy who's involved with this. I don't think that's a coincidence. So that's what we're getting so far from NASA here. This is the best that a $70 billion tax-funded agency can do, is this image right here. And someone should be held accountable for this, because they're not giving us actually space news. I mean, what do they do besides fake ISS videos all day? Interesting stuff. That's the update on 3i Atlas from NASA themselves. Deceptions going on. Be on alert. Pray and trust in the Lord Jesus. Thanks for watching. God bless.